We will pay attention to the reconciliation of the creditors control account with the creditors list when the balance in the creditors control account is provided. That means they don't give us the individual entries that was recorded in the creditors control account during the month. They only give us the balance in the control account at the end of the month. Then they say that the total of the list is 4432. So if we compare those two figures, we can see immediately that there's a mistake or omissions, and we will have to correct this. The two should always be the same because the totals of the creditors control column in all the journals are posted to the creditors control account. The individual entries in the journals are posted to the individual accounts in the creditors ledger. Therefore, if there's no mistakes, these two balances should be the same. If we look at the first entry here, they say the balance on the account of a creditor was incorrectly calculated as 189. The correct balance is 171. No mistake was made in the creditor's control account because there's no mistake in the journal. When the account of the creditor was balanced, we showed the incorrect balance as 189, where it's supposed to be 171. So in our creditors list, the total is too high and we will have to reduce it. Therefore, we will show in the creditors list that this balance was too high. So we will subtract the 171 from the 181 and show that the total outstanding amount must be reduced with 18 rand. The total of the debtors column in the cash receipts journal was posted to the credit side of the creditors control account. So there's a mistake in the creditors control account because the debtors column in the cash receipts journal should be posted to the credit side of your debtors control account. So this was incorrectly posted to the credit side of the creditors control. So to correct this mistake, we will debit the creditors control account and we will credit the debtors control account. A credit note for 37 was recorded correctly in the creditors allowances journal but posted to the wrong side of the individual person. If there was no mistake in the journal, there's no mistake in the creditors control. A credit note that we receive will reduce our creditors, so this 37 was supposed to be recorded on the debit side of the account of AC suppliers. To correct this in the list, we will have to show that the account must be debited. So the incorrect entry that we showed on the credit side must be put on the debit side to cancel that incorrect entry. Then we also have to do the correct entry that was supposed to be on the debit side. Therefore, if an amount was recorded on the wrong side of an account, it means you will always have to correct it by doing double the entry. First of all, to cancel the mistake that was made, and secondly, to show the 37 that was supposed to be on the debit side. The total of the creditors journal was undercast and posted as 4125 instead of 4215. If the total in a journal is incorrect, it means that there's only a mistake in the creditors control. If it's the creditors journal, it means that you did this entry on the credit side of the control account. Now, did we show the amount too high or too little? We posted it as 4125 instead of 4215. So we showed too little on the credit side. Therefore, we will subtract the two from each other and indicate that the creditors control balance should increase with 90 rand. A credit note for 42 received from Menlyn dealers was recorded in the creditors allowances journal as 24 Rand. So a mistake was made in the journal. Because we made a mistake in the journal, this incorrect 24 was posted to the account of Menlyn Dealers. Because this 24 was in the journal, the total is also incorrect. So that means we also made a mistake in the creditors control account. Therefore, we will have to correct this mistake in the creditors control account and in the creditors list. This credit note should be recorded on the debit side. It was supposed to be 42, it's only 24, so this amount on the debit side should increase with 18 Rand. Then we will also show in the account of Menlyn Dealers that we will subtract the two figures. It was a credit note that was supposed to be recorded on the debit side. It was posted too little, so it means that the creditors account will decrease with 18 Rand. A credit note for 31 received from Linwood Stores was recorded in the creditors allowances journal, but it was not posted to the individual account of the creditor. Therefore, there is no mistake in the creditors control account because it was correctly recorded in the journal. There is only a mistake in the individual account of Linwood Stores. A credit note will decrease a creditor, therefore we will have to show it on the debit side of Linwood Stores. Linwood Stores will then be debited with 31, that will decrease the account of Linwood Stores. After we've made all these corrections, we will balance the creditors control account, so we will add the 7939 plus the 90 to give us a total of 8029. Then I take the 8029 minus the 3720 minus the 18, and that will give me a new balance of 4291. If I take the balance in the creditors list and I add 18 minus 74 minus 18 minus 31, I also have 4291. So that means that we corrected all the mistakes because these two should always be the same. We will do another account to reconcile the creditors control account with the creditors list. On 30 June, the creditors control had a balance of 4291. So the creditors control balance is 4291. The creditors list balance is 3211. And we will show that the total in the creditors list must be shown as 3211. An invoice for 395 Rand received from Hillview Stores for inventory purchase has not been recorded in the creditors journal. If it was not recorded in the creditors journal, it means that it was not posted to the account of Hillview Stores, and because it's not in the journal, the total in the journal was incorrect. Therefore, we will correct this mistake in the creditors list and in the creditors control account. So the creditors control account will be credited with a 395 to show that we owe more money to the creditors because we did not record this invoice. In the creditors control account, we will credit with 395 to indicate that the creditors must increase with 395 because we didn't record the entry. And in the account of Hillview Stores, we will also increase the account on the credit side with 395 Rand. A creditor, Temba Traders, charged the account of the business with 425 Rand interest. No entry was recorded. That means that this must be corrected in the creditors list and in the creditors journal. So the creditors control account will be credited with 425 Rand to increase the total debt to creditors. And the account of Temba stores will also be credited to increase the outstanding amount with 425 Rand. No entry was completed for the transfer of a debit balance of 300 in the account of Pulsar in the debtors ledger to his account in the creditors ledger. Now you must make sure that you know exactly what is going on in this entry. That you have a debtor and you have a creditor. So we have a debtor and a creditor. They say it is a debit balance, so the balance can either be in the debtors or in the creditors control on the debit side. They say this balance of the debit balance is in the debtors ledger. So it means this balance in the debtors ledger is on the debit side. If we want to transfer it, we must transfer it and take it out of the debtors ledger on the credit side and put it into the creditors ledger on the debit side. Therefore, this 300 Rand will be recorded on the debit side of the creditors control and in the account of Pulsar. So in the creditors control account, we will show that the creditors control will decrease with 300 Rand and the account that will be credited will be debtors control. And in the account of Pulsar, we will show that this amount goes to the credit side of Pulsar's account. So in the creditors list, the debt will increase with 300 Rand. The total of the purchases column in the cash payments journal was overcast with 1,000. Now, the purchases column in the cash payments journal will not be recorded in the creditors control or in the creditors ledger at all, because this is cash purchases. If it's recorded in the cash payments journal and it is in the purchases column, it means it was cash purchases. So we will not record any entry here. The check for 1080 in favor of Simpson, a creditor, was posted correctly to the relevant creditors account, so there was no mistake in the creditors list. We don't have to correct anything there. But it was entered in the debtors control column in the cash payments journal. So if it was put into the debtors control column, it means that we posted this entry to the debit side of my debtors control account, because an entry in when a check is issued in the cash payments journal, the bank will be credited and either the debtors control was debited or the creditors control was debited. This check was issued in favor of a creditor, so it means it was supposed to go on the debit side of the creditors control. To correct this mistake, we have to debit the creditors control account to show that the creditors must decrease with 1080 because we paid the creditors. This was incorrectly recorded in the debtors control column, therefore it was posted to the debtors control. And now we will have to go and credit the debtors control on the credit side, debit the creditors control to show that this entry was supposed to be in the creditors control. Then we will add up the balance, inventory and interest amount to get a total of 5,111. Subtract the 300, subtract the 1080, and that will give me a balance of 3731. We will add the figures in the creditors list minus the 300, and that will also give me a total of 3731. So therefore we corrected all the mistakes that we knew about because these two totals are now equal. What did we learn today? When an entry was not completed in the journal or a mistake was made in the journal, an entry will be recorded in the control account because the total in the journal is incorrect, and it will also be recorded in the account of the creditor because it was not done there because we left it out or made a mistake in the journal. When the total of the creditors column in any of the subsidiary journals are incorrect, it will only be corrected in the control account because the totals of the creditors column in any subsidiary journal is posted to the control account. When a mistake was made in the individual account of a creditor, the mistake will only be corrected in his account, and therefore the creditors or debtors list will be adjusted.